What's up, YouTube?
WePoste here, and today it's Victor.
And George.
And, well, X and Y has been out for like 2 to 3
2 weeks now.
weeks. And we thought, well, we haven't actually had an X and Y video yet. So, like,
we
we
haven't
might,
really got into it.
we might as well,
Do some speculation.
yeah, even though, like, pretty much anyone already knows.
Yeah, so
What's
we're
on?
like the only two in the dark in
Yeah,
the
we're-
entire Pokemon community.
Like, everyone else already knows this stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
So when we actually get into the battling, we're gonna see how long we are.
And also, if you guys don't want to watch us do this, because we probably suck at it, just watch the Smogon X and Y Smogcast #1.
Yeah, go check out their channel.
Because they probably know, not probably, they obviously know a lot more, because
Of course.
they're
They're
Smogon University.
yeah.
That's the
they're
university I want to go
scholars,
to.
Man. They're scholars.
Obviously, so you should probably go watch that instead. But this is more just to give us an excuse to talk about X and Y, Mega Evolutions, Fairy type, and all that stuff.
So should we start with talking about the fairy type or Mega Evolutions? I feel like Mega Evolutions gonna take a long time, so let's just get some of the shortest stuff out of the way.
Fairy types?
Yeah. Oh, and first of all, happy Halloween, guys! Or at least at the time this was recorded, it was Halloween. What did you dress up as? You didn't dress up, did you, Victor?
I was a fork in the road.
What? Did you just carry around a fork? I didn't really see you that much.
Oh.
What did you do?
I just, like, I wore my black sweatshirt, right?
Yeah.
And then I put masking tape over it, so it's like
Yeah.
a road. Then I taped a fork on it, so it's a fork in the road.
Oh, of course you would do something punny like that.
It's not
I
punny.
took literally every single article of clothing on me, except my shoes because those are impossible to flip inside out. So yeah, I flipped everything I wore inside out.
That makes no sense.
Every.
That's actually
No, it makes a lot of sense.
makes no sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Whatever. Let's talk about Fairy first. Fairy.
I was inside out, man. Yo, come from the hard streets and inside out tale.
Okay. Fairy types
I didn't talk like that the entire time.
are made to counter dragons.
Yes.
Why
And
would they do
also
that?
used to bring up the usage of some of the less popular attacking types such as poison and steel, and to also give fire types some more use.
Yeah,
Like,
it's,
okay, so the fire types as an attacking move were already useful, so I don't think it was that useful to give them even more, like, offensive use. Really, it's just because fire types are really bad defensive typing, and pretty much a lot of the fire moves you see in today's metagame of OU,
Why is
they're actually
fire-
not coming from fire type.
why is fire more prominent again?
Because fairy type is weak to fire.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
You want to bet?
I'm
Yeah, it's
on.
been a while since I said
Go
that.
look at the type chart. Fairy is only weak to poison and steel.
I'm pretty sure it's weak to...
It is not.
Is this going to be like the first time I've been wrong in a
Yes,
while?
it is. I'm looking at the type chart. Fairy is not weak to fire.
Okay, you know what? I heard someone say that it was weak to fire, and I just took their word for it.
Okay.
So I blamed it. What do you... Oh, wait. Fire resists.
Fairy.
That
What?
makes sense. Never mind. Everybody ignore what I just said.
Wait, how do you know fire resists fairy? This type chart is really confusing me.
Victor, I think you're...
My phone is ringing. And someone else picked it up.
Okay, so fairy is super effective against fighting, dragon, dark. Not very effective against fire, poison, steel. And defensively, fighting, bug, dark resist it, while poison and steel are super effective against it, and it's immune to dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of strange how it's super effective. Oh, wait. You know what? That makes a lot of sense. Fighting
What?
types have become a lot more prominent.
Well,
So,
yeah, because
fairies
fighting's
also
like
counter fighting
fighting's like
types.
really awesome. You should just keep talking. I have to do something. Hold on.
Alright. I also find it weird that I never thought that dark types were that prominent. So it's kind of strange that fairy type is super effective and resistant to dark. But then again, now that steel doesn't resist dark and ghost, dark may gain some more usage as an attacking move at least, due to the fact that steel no longer resists it. So it's actually a pretty good neutral stab. Victor, are you alive?
I
Or
am
did your dog-
completely alive.
Did your dog
Yeah, he's like flipping
Dog
out
stuff.
because someone rang the doorbell.
and that excites your dog?
I know.
That's strange.
It's not.
I was just talking about how Dark might see more usage now that Steel isn't resistant to it anymore. And that's why Fairy also kind of counters Dark.
Fairy does not counter dark.
Dude, it's super effective and resistant to
Okay,
Dark.
fine, you're right. Fairy's like the opposite of psychic
What do you,
in that respect.
well, it's similar to Psychic in that it's super effective in fighting and resistant to fighting.
Yeah.
But it's different in that it resists bug, unlike Psychic.
So it is the opposite of psychic.
Okay, here's the thing. Fairy typing is most useful because of its immunity dragon, its super effectiveness against fighting types and dragon types.
Dragon's
And,
weak to fire fairy?
what?
Dragon's weak to fairy?
Yeah. Which I think is kind of weird, but
Dragon is weak to 3 types now?
yeah.
No. I love
Dude, dragon was
dragons.
actually dragon might not be overpowered. It's
They
not
needed
overpowered.
an overpowered typing
No,
to make it.
no, you don't need an overpowered typing.
You
That's
need an
stupid.
overpowered type. Now everything's
Balance,
so
man. You need a
balanced.
balanced metal game. Balance.
I also don't like how steel doesn't resist that many things anymore.
Steel's nah, Steel is gonna be Steel is super effective against Fairy now, so it actually doesn't lose that much use.
Steel gained a little more offensive presence, but lost a lot of defensive presence.
Oh, who cares? It doesn't need that defensive
It
presence.
needs it. Like go, especially with the Mega Gengar and stuff.
Look,
It
the
needs
loss
that
of Dark
ghost
isn't that much of a
resist.
big deal, but I do agree that Ghosts
The only
losing
thing that resists Ghost right now is Dark,
What? Really?
and Normal's immune to it.
Holy shoot, Ghost has become the new dragon.
Ghost is like completely overpowered.
Oh, no. Actually, I think normal types will go up in usage now. Including like this stuff like Mega Kangaskar. I think normal types will see some more use. Also because fighting types have been neutered a bit by Fairy, normal also go up in prominence.
Did you just say it's been nuded? Like
Neutered.
neutered?
Neutered. Neutered by fighting.
That is completely
I mean, fighting was neutered by Fairy. So normal goes up in use. Actually, I think... Well, I always forget for some reason who designed Pokemon.
I'm
I'm
not
like,
sure. Nintendo?
what company?
Game Freak? Game Freak
I mean,
makes
it's
the
Game
game.
Freak, yeah, right?
Yeah.
But why do I feel like it's always associated with Nintendo?
Because it's only on Nintendo.
Oh. So is Nintendo
don't-
the distributor?
You don't really see Pokemon on like a PS Vita or something.
Okay, never mind. Let's ignore that. But I feel like they did a good job with adding a new type.
Yeah, they really made it, balance out.
Like I thought it would have been impossible, but they managed to pull it
How
off.
could it have been? They added 2 types in Generation 2, so how could it have been impossible?
Generation 2 was so long ago.
Yeah.
And there weren't that many Pokemon back then, and the meta game wasn't as clearly defined.
There wasn't even a metagame. A metagame didn't form
Well,
until
the meta
Generation
game was
4.
actually I remember I remember I'm
There
not
wasn't
that
any
old because
online
I
play
remember
until
people
Generation
talking
4.
about Gen 2 meta game being like super defensive. In fact, Gen 2 was like the most defensive
Gen
meta
2
game.
metagame doesn't come out until
Gen 2 metagame could be defined by 2 Pokemon.
we never
Strawberry
even got
and-
to Generations 1 to 3 before emulators came out and hacking and ROM hacking and stuff.
Okay, we're getting off topic.
There wasn't any online play, so there wasn't any metagame.
No,
Really.
people just played
You play with your friends. That there's no EV training.
There were
or
still
anything
competitive Pokemon players back then.
involved. It wasn't as big. Not even close.
Okay, it wasn't as big, but it still existed.
Not
and if
even
you go to
close.
Smogon, you can see they have analysis for those gens.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that was written later.
Analyses.
Not written actually in 2000.
Where were we?
Let's go on to Mega Evolutions, because that's what I actually
Okay,
want
no,
to
we need
take a
to
look.
get into a final verdict on Fairy. I
Fairy?
think Fairy
Balances everything
is
out.
above average. Actually way above average
Really?
for a type. It's way above average.
How?
I'd say Fairy is about as good. Well, okay. You know what? Yeah, about as good as Dragon was last gen.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I watched a minute and a half into the Smogcast. First thing they said, Sylveon has gone up in usage, but is completely countered by Scizor.
Yeah. Actually, I think Scissor's gonna go down a bit in usage. I don't
Why?
feel like Scissor's as good as it used to be.
Really? Why? What do you think is going to affect it?
Um, okay, first of all, it loses some of its resists,
Yeah.
and also greater prevalence of fire type moves. And also, one of the biggest things, along with the prevalence of fire type moves, is the fact that Rain has been neutered.
Scizor wasn't that big in the rain.
No,
Ferrothorn was big
like
in
the
the rain.
rain. It was often a rain type like a lot of people use it on rain team. I said a lot of Pokemon use it on rain. A lot of
Ferrothorn's a
people use it on rain teams because that helps.
Ferrothorn's
alleviate
a
the
rain type Pokemon that doesn't.
Okay,
that's not
Ferrothorn too.
water.
I think Ferrothorn's gonna go down a bit in usage.
Well,
It's gonna go
well, I
down.
guess anything that was quad weak to fire would probably go down in usage.
And actually, you know what?
Well,
Losing
actually not
both
really,
Dark
because-
Resist is a huge
No,
deal.
because rain
Honestly.
and fire wasn't that big in Gen 4, and Scizor was still on the top of the tier.
What are you talking about? Rain was disgustingly huge
in
like-
Gen 4?
Yeah, it was huge.
Not
was-
in OU.
It was still big.
Definitely
like,
not in
Gen
OU.
4 was mostly sandstorm, but rain was still.
Definitely not in OU.
Anyhow, the fact that steel resists fairy doesn't
Steel,
mean...
fire resist fairy, poison resist fairy.
Yes.
Poi-
so just
okay,
saying,
fairy is
steel
super-
haven't lost that much defensive.
Okay, fairies are super effective against 3 types, and they're resisted by 3 types.
Yeah.
So I don't really think it's that big. Well, Dragon last generation was only resisted by Steel, so you had to have a Steel Pokemon. But Fairies resisted by 3 different typings, so it's not as
Yeah, but dragons
OP
was so
as
easy to
Dragon
kill with an
was.
ice type move or a faster dragon.
But that kind of like centered the thing.
And
too
everybody
much.
had like some kind of
Yeah, it means so like
counter
every
attack.
no. The reason Dragon was so OP was because it forced people to have to have this one certain kind of Pokemon on their team. Fairy doesn't do that. Fairy's just like, you know.
Also, a lot of the dragons are very similar in that if one counter counters all dragons.
Yeah.
But fairy type Pokemon are diverse enough in typing and stats that you can't really have just one defined fairy counter.
Yeah. Well,
When before you
not
got
really.
undefined
With
dragon.
dragons, I guess they were all centered around like super high attack and stuff, but.
Yeah, and they were all destroyed by like ice moves.
You know what's weird? They're all really offensive, but you don't really see a defensive one. Like this was the first generation I can think of where there's
Gudra
a defensive dragon.
Dragalge, I would say, is also a defensive.
And there's no pseudo legendary this gen.
Suedo?
Yeah,
Is it Suedo? Okay, it's probably pronounced pseudo, but
It's
I just
pseudo,
think
it's pseudo.
Suedo.
no, think about it. Let's first generation there was Dragonite, second gen Tyranitar, third gen would be Salamence, fourth would be Garchomp, fifth would be Hydreigon. Who is it for sixth?
For offensive dragons?
No, Tyranitar and Metagross aren't dragon types. It doesn't have to be dragon to be
you're
pseudo
talking about
legendary.
pseudo legendaries.
Yeah, like there's
Oh.
no pseudo legendary for Gen 6.
Yeah, there's no pseudo legendary.
Isn't that
But
weird?
you know what? Didn't you see in Maryland's video that he suspects that, when like the next series of games comes out for this gen, it's gonna like introduce new Pokemon?
Well, if it doesn't, that's going to be pretty pathetic because there's
Yeah,
only
because
69.
yeah. So they're gonna release like the
So
second
really,
batch.
when you think about it, you know Hoenn, how it introduced like a lot, right? It really felt like a ton of them were filler Pokemon.
Hoenn, no.
Hoenn.
Hoenn was great.
Mighty Yana, come on. Like
Look, okay,
Pokemon like
these-
Mighty Yana, Glalie.
Hoenn introduced a lot of weak Pokemon, a
So
lot of tiered Pokemon, but all those Pokemon were great. I loved them. The designs were great.
really, they didn't
Yeah.
seem like fillers to you.
I love Hoenn. Hoenn's my second favorite region.
I like the Hoenn television series.
Oh, no, I for Pokemon anime, I'd say yeah, it's pretty good. But I don't really like the anime.
Let's go on to Mega Evolutions now.
By the way, we should probably have some annotations in this video in case people don't want to hear us talk about fairy types for like 15 minutes.